Looky, looky. It's a brand new pair of Golden Fox 6-inch Moc Toe Wedge Pro work boots. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why this is the best pair of Moc Toe work boots that you can buy. It's the best. I'm not saying it's the most expensive. I'm not saying it's the highest quality. I'm not saying it's the most durable. I'm not saying it's the cheapest. It's the best for what you get, for what you pay, and the style that I'm looking for, and all the features that I'm looking for. This is the boot that I want. I've tried them all. I've had the Red Wing. I've had the Irish Setter. I've had the Thoroughgood. I've had the Rocky. I'm trying to think what else I've had. I had the Rock Rooster. I've had them all, and I don't know why I put off trying the Golden Fox for so long. And something caught my eye. I was just browsing. I'm always shopping, always comparing, and I'm like, holy cow, why haven't I tried these? So I did, and I took some time to shop and pick out, because they have so many models, they have so many different styles, and it took a while to pick out the ones that I wanted. And that's what it's all about. You got to pick the right. You can't just go to their website and buy any boot. You have to pick one that has these specific features, in my opinion. So that's actually the trickiest part, is like, which boot are we talking about here? Because they've got dozens of boots, dozens of shoes, and a lot of them are very similar, but they have some important differences. So I'm going to take a little bit of time before we get started just to show you the different Moc Toe boots that they have, and identify exactly which one we're talking about. Okay, so let's take a look at goldenfoxfootwear.com and some of the different models. They have tons of boots, tons of shoes, dozens. We're just interested in the traditional Moc Toe work boots, but even those, they've got several. So when you go to goldenfoxfootwear.com, the website's a little wonky. It's your typical low budget marketing website. Um, the masthead, you don't see any traditional Moc Toe work boots. That's because they're trying to show you all their other stuff. And they want you to realize they do a lot more. I really do feel like their traditional Moc Toe boots are their bread and butter. But anyway, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the home page, or any page, in the footer, you'll find an About Us link, and you can go there and read about their history and stuff. They got a lot of their company information there. You can find a little more about them by Googling, but there's not a lot out there. They're a kind of a low profile company, but they've been around since 1970. But right about in the middle of the homepage, you'll find this little smattering of, well, featured products. These are their featured products, not all their products, not their sale products. These are their featured products. They want you to know about these ones for some reason, including a couple new collections, and that is the one that I got. So it's kind of nice to know that it's a new model, or it's hopefully going to be around for a while, because I think they did this one right. There it is right there. If you go up to boots and you click 6-inch in the menu under Moc Toe, you end up on this page. And this is about 2 pages worth of various Moc Toe boots. Very confusing. Some of them are extremely similar. Let me tell you about the ones that I was interested in. First, of course, you've got the one that I ended up buying, MSRP $160. This one is called Golden Fox 6-inch Moc Toe Wedge Pro Work Boots. That's what they call this one. It's very easy to find because it has the red badge on it, new collection, and it has the authentic, real Moc Toe construction. So this is the one that I got, and I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. The reason I came to this website, though, is not for this boot. I found this one after I came to the website. The reason I came to the website is to try and find this boot. This is MSRP $139.90, but on Amazon you can get it for under 100, like 99 bucks or something. And this one has all the buzz. And so I came for this one, and I was a little bit disappointed by some of the features that I found. And so I ended up, and then I was looking at all their others. I'm like, am I looking at the right one? And then I found that one that I told you about that I ended up buying, and you're going to learn all about in this video. But this is the one that has all the buzz. Let's zoom in and let me tell you why I ended up not getting this one. Um, it's a little bit less than the one that I got. Well, it's MSRP is even less than what I paid. MSRP 139 or something, selling on Amazon for under 100, like 99 bucks. It's basically the same boot, just with some different details. And let me tell you what the differences are. First of all, the welt is a storm welt, and it's a plastic storm welt. Not really a deal breaker necessarily, but definitely affects the aesthetic. I think it's for a plastic storm welt, I think it's about as good as you could hope for, but it does affect the aesthetic. I also, hear the little midsole right under the welt, between the welt and the outsole, is the same color as the outsole, and that's a mistake in my opinion. I like a contrasting color because then if I choose to go with if they make it dark and I choose to go with a black wedge if I ever get them resold, I've got that option. Whereas if they go with the same color, a thin little white midsole would not look as good with a black outsole. So that was not a deal breaker, but it was not ideal. Has the logo on the heel. Again, not ideal, but also not a deal breaker. It's a tasteful little logo. I don't mind it. It does have triple stitching right here where you would expect triple stitching, kind of like a Red Wing. But look what they did with the stitching. They've got different colors of stitching, and most of it is not a color I would pick. It's too close to the color of the leather. It doesn't contrast enough. It looks like something's wrong. And then some of the colors are different. There's like a whitish color, like the welt is a real white, and then there's a little bit of kind of white in the rest of the stitching, and then there's this brownish. I just think that's aesthetically a mistake. It just looks like it wasn't intentional, like it's a mistake. It just doesn't look right. It does have the stiffening stitching through here, which is not as traditional as I like, but even that's not a deal breaker. It has a different color heel cushion or ankle cushion sewn in. That doesn't bother me because it's mostly on the inside of the boot. What really bothers me is the what I call the mock toe. It's there for aesthetics only. The stitching around the mock toe. It's only for aesthetics. It serves no function. It's one piece of leather. The side and the top are one piece. The stitching doesn't even need to be there. It's only there for appearance. And I just can't stand when products or home designs or whatever it is has something that's fake, but it's there for looks, like plastic shutters on the outside of a house with vinyl siding. It's like you didn't even need that. It serves no purpose, and it's not like it's that attractive. I mean, so why is it there? Same with this stitching. That was the deal breaker. I'd rather go back to Red Wing, and as uncomfortable as Red Wings are until you break them in, which takes forever, I'd rather go back to Red Wing and pay 350 bucks than have this detail on there that is a fake detail. So that was the deal breaker. That's why I did not go with these. But this is why I came to the websites to find these and learn more about them. They're available for $99 on the Amazon site. I ended up finding these guys instead, and that's what I bought. Here's another one that's on their website that's very interesting, a $59.90 version. Again, the exact same boot, probably the same leather. Maybe they're closing it out. Maybe this was their previous low-cost version. Let's zoom in on this one and see what's different about it. Again, plastic storm welt, not a big deal. It looks nice. Again, they went with the white midsole, that thin little midsole. Not ideal. I wish they would have gone with a darker contrasting color. Um, I think this is a rubber outsole. Yeah, it's a rubber outsole. Not a showstopper. I prefer polyurethane, but not a showstopper. It's got all the same stitching glitches that I just complained about with the $99 shoe. But for 59 bucks, shoot, I'd give it a try. Um, it does have this rivet where right where mine has that more traditional stitch for the where the mock toe starts. This has a rivet. Not a showstopper. I'd prefer it not be there because that's not really part of the old-timey designs that we're used to seeing. I do like the eyelets. I like that they're not really garish and shiny. But look what it's got. It's got the deal breaker. It's got the mock toe. It's not a real mock toe stitch. It's just a stitch that's there for looks. I call it the mock. No, thank you. I'll probably never get a boot that has that. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it just so I can try them out at some point, but I would not enjoy wearing a pair of boots that has a feature on it that doesn't have function. It's added just for appearance. Not a fan. So didn't get these, but something to think about. $59.90. It's a damn good boot. If it's like they say, pretty much similar in every way except for those things that I mentioned. So that's another one that they got there. Then they have these two heritage boots, the 1970 and the 1971. Let's look at the 1970 first. These are actually made in America. Golden Fox is an American company in Ontario, California, but a lot of their boots are manufactured in China. That doesn't really bother me. Obviously, made in America is better, but um, I'll buy something made in China if the value is right, and I think it is in the case of this company. But interesting that they have these made in the USA options. And let's zoom in and see. I'm thinking the leather is going to be at least as high quality. It's probably sourced a little bit differently. They're certainly not going to pick a lower quality version for their more expensive made in the USA boots. So maybe it's a tad thicker, a tad better in some way. But other than that, it's got a lot of the same choices. It is a leather welt like the one that I ended up buying. But it's got a lot of the same complaints that as the other models that I've already pointed out, including the Moc. I'm not going to pay more than what I have to pay for the ones that I got, pay even more for a Moc. So it's a real shame. I think they dropped the ball there. If they're going to have a premium made in the USA, they should go with the old-timey construction. But maybe this is how they made them back in 1970, and they want to kind of honor that. It's like their throwback boot. So maybe they can't, I don't know, but not for me. And it's a shame because it's probably at least as nice a leather, probably a nice boot. I like heritage anything, right? So that's the 1970. That's when the company was born. Then they also have a 1971 heritage. Let's zoom in on that one. Basically identical boot, maybe slightly different color. Everything is mostly identical except that it has a storm welt instead of a flat welt. Um, it is a leather welt, but it has the shape of a storm welt. Other than that, it's virtually, I can't see any other differences here. And it's got all the other things that I complained about, including the Moc. So again, 199, just like the 1970. The 1971 is also 199. I'm sure it's a fine boot, but I'm not going to pay more money to get a Moc. So that's basically what I looked at when I was trying to figure out, all right, which one of these is the one I'm supposed to get? And in so doing, I landed on this guy. I'm so glad I did, as you'll learn more in this video. I also want to show you that all of these boots except one are available on Amazon. For example, here's the one that I actually got on Amazon, 148. And Ratings are really good, 4.3 stars, tons of ratings, 2,695. So it's not like this is some kind of anomaly. It's a well-regarded boot. People love it. This is the one that I got. $148. It's real. You can get one too. I'll have a link in the description. Then on Amazon, we've got the one that had all the buzz because it's only $96.90. Um, it's just about as nice as the one that I got, except it's got the mock. It's got that weird fake mock toe, and it does have a plastic welt, not a deal breaker. I've already gone over all this, but I'm just showing you that it's on Amazon for even less than goldenfoxfootwear.com. $96.90, might be worth a try if you're cost conscious. The aesthetic is not quite what I'm looking for though. Then on Amazon, you've got the two heritage boots. You've got the 1970 here and the 1971 there. They're both the same price as on the website, the goldenfoxfootwear.com website, $199. So you're not saving any money by going to Amazon. Here's something that's interesting though. This These boots are all on the same product page. It depends on which color you choose. So you're not really, it looks like you're choosing a color, but you're actually choosing a different boot. So I've got the 1970 right now. If I choose the middle one, then I get the 1971 with the storm welt. And if I choose the one on the left, I actually get my boot that I ended up buying. So they're kind of combining. This is kind of confusing. I'm not sure who's doing this. You never really know who you're buying from when you buy on Amazon, unless it's a company that has their own store within a store on Amazon, but I don't think they do. I think this is just Amazon selling these or some other merchant selling Golden Fox. Anybody can sell Golden Fox. You can have a shoe store and you can buy them wholesale and sell them in your shoe store. I think that's what's going on here. And so in this case, they're combining them all on one product page, which is a little confusing, but they're there. They're on there. If for some reason you want to buy them, if I was going to get the Heritage, since they're the same price and you're not saving any money on Amazon, I would just get it directly from the company at goldenfoxfootwear.com. So let's go back to mine though. There it is on the website, the official website, and also on Amazon, where you can get it a little bit cheaper. $148.90. So this was the process. I just showed you the shopping process I went through when I was trying to figure out, all right, which one should I get? It's a little confusing, a little more confusing than a lot of things that you buy on Amazon where it's straightforward. If you're getting a, if you're getting a MacBook Pro on Amazon, or you're getting a, some Apple, you know, some Apple product of some kind. It's usually very straightforward. You're picking the right one. These boots, you kind of got to be careful and make sure you're looking at the right product, whether it's the goldenfoxfootwear.com website or Amazon. But there you have it. That was my shopping process.
Okay, so there you have it. We are talking about the Golden Fox 6-inch Moc Toe Wedge Pro work boots from Golden Fox. Now let's get into it. Let me show you why I love these boots and why right now this is the Moc Toe boot I'm wearing. Again, I've tried them all. This is the one I'm wearing now. I'm gonna not go in any particular order here. Here, I'll put one of these down. Get it out of the way and just look at one of them. I'm not going to try them on for you or anything like that. Just suffice to say that they fit me perfect. I just love them. It's just like wearing a basketball sneaker. Just so comfortable, except it's a boot. Protects you a little bit more appropriate for work. And let's just get right into it and talk about the features. Let's start with the leather. This leather is a really nice oil tanned leather. It's got some great, it's a high quality leather. It's more high quality, in my opinion, for the kind of leather I want. It's the highest quality that I've seen in a Moc Toe boot. It's oil tanned, so it's really soft. So you don't have to wait for it to break in, but it's not overly tumbled like a lot of the leathers out there these days. Some of them are tumbled so much that they have that kind of like wrinkly texture and they can't even stand up. And that's why a lot of these boots have to put that extra stiffener stitching through here, which totally ruins the look in my opinion. So this is the perfect leather for me. It's gonna get a nice patina on it. Right now it's a little bit too new looking, but that's how these boots are when you first get them. They have to be kind of broken in a little bit and sort of like worn a little bit to look right. Right now it almost looks They almost look like fake leather when they're right out of the box. Oh, speaking of out of the box, let me tell you about my Amazon experience. So basically, these boots came in this Amazon box, and then inside that box is the golden Fox box. But check it out. It's not really a golden Fox box. It's a box that says, this item has been repackaged in recyclable, frustration-free packaging because the original box was damaged in transit. All right, Amazon. Or the vendor, who it's really hard to tell even who you're getting these boots from. You know how Amazon works. There's all kinds of different merchants on there. But anyway, I didn't even get a golden Fox box, so I can't even tell you what that box is supposed to look like. This box did a fine job, but it kind of makes me nervous. It's like, was this a returned item? What the hell's going on here? But the boots are clearly in brand new condition, so I'm not going to complain. But that was less than ideal, I thought. But that's just Amazon being Amazon. It's like you never know if you're buying a returned item or what. I guess that's kind of what we get for shopping with Amazon, because we return so much stuff to them, right? So they can sell us returned stuff, and it's like, how are we going to know if we don't get to pick out a fresh one? We're not there in person. So it is what it is, but I'm happy with the quality. They're brand new as near as I can tell. I've worn them for about a week here and there, not too heavy a use, and they basically didn't have a mark on them. So, but you got to be careful with this stuff when you're buying from Amazon. I got these for $148.99, something like that, and a little bit less than manufacturer's suggested retail price. So the price was right. So that's one of the first things to mention is the price. I'm not paying $350 for a pair of Red Wings. Not that I can't, I have in the past, but it's just not worth it. By the time they break in, I've had to resole a pair. It still wasn't broken in. I was already on my first resole, and they just never feel comfortable. And why am I going to torture myself just because somebody tells me I have to have Red Wings? I want the Golden Fox. I want them to be comfortable on day one, and they are. These are so comfortable. It's like wearing a tennis shoe, only it's not a tennis shoe. It's a boot. So the price was about $148 from Amazon. There's a lot of Amazon sellers out there selling these. As near as I can tell, there is not a Golden Fox official store on Amazon, but they do have their own website, so you can purchase directly from them, and sometimes the prices are higher and sometimes the prices are lower than Amazon, and you do get free shipping from them if you pay on any order $100 or more. So consider buying directly from Golden Fox, and I'll put the Golden Fox link in the description. But yeah, if you're buying from Amazon, you got to be careful and don't be afraid to return them. If you get a boot, and this goes for all their boots and shoes and any product really, if you get something, it looks like it was used, it's not quite brand new, just keep returning it until you get something that you deserve. That's what I do. I probably return about 10% of the things that I buy on Amazon because some of them are suspect. So sometimes I'll return something and then I'll repurchase it from a different merchant. That kind of thing. So take advantage of Amazon that way to make sure you get something good. But let's get back to talking about the features of this boot. So the leather is great. The leather is about 2 millimeters plus. It's definitely a nice thick leather. It's not the thickest. It's not quite Red Wing thickness, but it's hard to tell. It's pretty close. The stitching. Notice there is not triple stitching here. It's the exact same stitching as a Red Wing, except right here, instead of triple stitching, it's double stitching. Now, I've never worn out a boot because of stitching, so I don't really care. I really like the classic design of these boots. They don't have that stiffener stitching through here. They have the kind of old school design. I really like the mock toe stitching right here instead of a rivet or some kind of something funky. I really like this. It's kind of classic old school stitching. So the leather is great. These are unlined, so you get to see the leather on the inside. I really like the padded ankle. It's not like a contrasting color, a garish contrasting color. It's the same color as the boot. It looks nice. Very nice and comfortable. I'll tell you what, when I put these on, I don't feel any of this because it's so soft. All of this is so soft and padded. I really like the, well, this is one of the most important features for me is the traditional mock toe design. This is a multi-part mock toe. In other words, this is one piece of leather and this is another piece of leather and they're stitched together. That's, when they originally came up with this design back in the day, I don't know who was the first. Red Wing was one of the first. That's why this stitching exists right here, because it's multiple pieces of leather that have to be stitched together to create this toe box. That's what makes them so comfortable. That's what makes the toe box tall. And so the stitching, as nice as it looks, it's there for a reason. So many of these mock toe boots these days, they don't even have the multiple parts, and so the stitching is just for looks. And I am not, whether it's architecture or product design, I don't like anything that is included just for looks or to fake something to look like the old way of doing things. Like when people put plastic shutters on the outside of a house with vinyl siding, it's like that. I just that kills me. I don't want anything to do with that. When people have a fake chimney on their house and there's no need for a chimney, it's like, what are you doing? You should, you don't have to have a chimney, and now you're still putting one on your house because you think it needs to look like it has a chimney. It's like, why are we doing this? Same with these boots. It's like, if you don't need, if this is all one piece of leather, then go with a plain toe. But if you like the look of a mock toe boot, then it should be multiple pieces. And so that's one of the key reasons why I got these boots, because, Red Wing has this feature, but so many of them don't. And even Golden Fox, you go to their website, they've got lots of different, like I already showed you, they've got lots of different mock toe boots. Most of them don't have this type of mock toe. So you got to be careful and make sure you get the right boot. But that's just another reason why I picked this one out, and I'm so glad that I did. Let's look at the tongue. I love the tongue. The tongue it's padded, which I love. You might think, hey, that's not very traditional. I don't care. I like a padded tongue. It keeps its shape better. It's comfortable, and it's stitched to this kind of suede tongue, which is then stitched to the mock toe right here. Now, all of them are stitched right here, even Red Wings, but most of them, they'll have like the same kind of leather as the rest of the boot all through here, and it's just a flap of leather, and it doesn't have any shape to it. It doesn't keep its shape. It wrinkles up, and it causes pressure points on your ankle. No thanks. I want a nice toe. I mean, I want most of the features to be traditional, but there's some features that only make sense to be modern, and the tongue is one of them, including this loop for the laces. I want that. That keeps the tongue where it's supposed to be. I love that. So that's another reason I like this boot. Let's move on to the Welt. This is a traditional Goodyear Welt construction. It's not a storm welt. It's just a regular normal welt, like just very similar to a pair of Red Wings. The key thing about this welt is it is real leather. It is a real leather welt. It looks great. It complements the color of the rest of the leather really nicely, and that is key as far as how sharp these boots look. Look at that. The stitching's really nice. It's not perfect stitching, but it's pretty good stitching. It's a 360-degree Goodyear welt all the way around, and it looks really good. It looks really quality, and I just love the look of that leather welt. I'm not going to be one of these people who tell you that a plastic welt is going to crack or something stupid like that. It's not going to. It's going to last just fine. For me, it's all about the appearance. I just love the appearance of real leather right here. Obviously, the outsole isn't leather, so not everything has to be leather. But for me, the welt, if it's real leather, it just, that plastic, if it's plastic, it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. So this really makes the boot look sharp right there. Then right underneath the welt, you have this midsole, I guess you'd call it. And it is a dark colored, sort of plasticky kind of, probably some kind of polyurethane or something, or some kind of hard man-made material. And that's basically what the outsole is glued to. And it's basically what the welt and the upper are stitched onto. And, you got to have it. On all these kinds of boots, it's that thin little layer between the thick outsole and the welt. You got to have it. It's a thin little layer. Well, guess what? On a lot of different boots, what color is it? Sometimes it's the same color as the outsole. Sometimes it's a garish orangey color. I like this color. It's like when I saw this, I'm like, holy cow, somebody finally gets it. They chose the right color for that midsole. Why is that color so important? Well, what I like to experiment with my boots. What if when it's time to resole these, what if I want to put a black wedge, a black wedge on it? With this midsole I can, and it's going to look great. But it also looks good with a white wedge. So I just think it's the right color. I wish everybody did this. And so it's just another reason why I chose this boot. It just looks great, and it gives me more resoling options. Let's talk about the sole. It is not a Vibram sole. It is a Golden Fox brand. Maybe they have somebody make them for them and they put their name on it. I don't know, but it's got the Golden Fox logo right here. It looks nice, but it's a very nice polyurethane sole, which means it's light, it's very soft, it's extremely soft and cushioned. Some of these outsoles on these kinds of boots, you can't even really compress it. It's like you can kind of compress. This one is very easy to compress, but yet it's polyurethane. It should last a long time. And you know what? If it doesn't last, I don't really care, because I like experimenting with boots. I like to be able to resole them, try different things, try different soles. So I'm not really that worried about that anyway. And the price was right at about $148. Whereas with a pair of Red Wings, it's like I don't want to resole them anytime soon, because $350. It's like I shouldn't have to be getting new soles all the time. With this boot, I don't care if I have to resole them after a year, but I don't think I'm going to have to. Polyurethane is supposed to be more durable than rubber. And they're super comfortable. It's just like walking on a slipper or a sneaker. I guess a basketball shoe would be the best example, but yet very stable. I feel like I'm ready to do work. You know what I mean? I feel very sure-footed in these, because this wedge is like, it's not like it doesn't just collapse under your foot. It gives you lots of stability, just lots of cushioning. Since we're talking about the sole, let's look on the inside and let me show you. There is I never did talk about the heel reinforcement here. That's kind of a nice feature. It's just kind of like a sort of mesh, a padded mesh back there. It's not leather, but I don't really care that it's not leather. It does reinforce the heel. And then if you look far enough in there, you can see that there is a vamp material that's sewn in there. That's a similar material. It's kind of like a cloth, some kind of man-made cloth, which is fine. I don't care that it's not leather. I don't care that it's not canvas. It's going to wick sweat away from my foot and give the sweat a chance to get away from my foot long enough for me to get home, take these off, and let them dry out. Always take your boots off at the end of a work day and take the insoles out if you can. Let them dry out. It's nice to have a couple pairs so you can alternate. Wear one day, let them dry out while you're wearing the other one the next day. But I like the construction. Let's take the insole out. The insole is a nice little insole, you know. It's like they brag in the product description about this cushioned heel. I mean, all it is a little, you know, I think it's all the same material, the yellow versus the green. You know, they try to talk to you like it's like some kind of fancy, you know, comfort engineer, it says. It's just an insole, and you're probably not going to like them. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but if you care enough about your shoes, you've probably learned that there's a certain insole that you like, and just go out and buy them. They make these things cheap because so many people throw them away anyway. Why put a lot of money into this when so many people choose their own insole and swap them out? So it's just wasteful. But yet, it's nice enough. It gets the job done. It's super comfortable combined with the outsole. It's super comfortable, and it's not like it looks bad. It looks nice. But I've already got my favorite insoles ordered from Amazon, my Dr. Scholl's work insoles. They're very cushioned. They have some gel, they have some memory foam, and they hold up for work a lot better. And they're just what I'm used to, and so I just like them. And they tend to not get stinky. Some of these companies, they'll use a material that gets stinky when you sweat. It'll absorb the sweat, and all of a sudden they'll turn on you and get just really stinky. Keen is a company that does that. They use a plant-based recycled material for this foam, and they only last so long, and all of a sudden they turn on you after you've worn them enough with a lot of sweating, and they smell like skunk. They smell like the worst body odor, and you just have to throw them away and buy something else, replace them with something else. I just recently had to do that with a pair of Keens. When you do that, if it's a boot that can be washed, wash it with some, instead of the bleach cycle, in place of the bleach, put some vinegar in there, and it'll get rid of any lingering odor. But I was not able to save the sole. I had to just throw it away and buy a new one. So again, that's why I don't really care what kind of insole it is. I'm going to replace it anyway. I've already got mine ordered. Let's look back inside. What do I see in there? Looky. That is a Bontex, they call it. It's a company that makes footboard materials. Sometimes they'll use that material elsewhere in a shoe or a boot. Here they've used it for the footboard. And all it is a fiberboard. It's nothing fancy. So it's not leather like Red Wing. But you know what? That leather takes so long. The more material like leather that you have down there, the more you're getting in the way of feeling this nice cushy outsole. So I don't want to wait for all that leather to break into my foot. Like I said, I'll be resoling my boots, and I still haven't broken them in yet. I don't want to do that. So I don't care if it's a thin little fiberboard like what you see down there. So many boots do that anyway. Who cares? You know, some boot snobs will say, "Oh, it's got to be leather." I'd rather save the money, frankly, because I feel like they break in quicker. Well, I don't feel like they do. I know they do. I put these on; they're instantly comfortable. They just fit me perfectly. Let's talk about the fit. You're probably going to want to order them one size smaller than what you usually wear. And that's just the way these boots run. I read that in the reviews, and I'm like, you know what? That happens to me sometimes. 80% of the time I wear a 12, 20% of the time I wear an 11. So I'm like, I better start with an 11. That's what I've got here. Sure enough, it was a perfect fit. So you might want to do the same. But back to that footboard. Check out that extra stitch in there. Why not? Put an extra stitch in there. It secures the footboard in place, but that stitch, I'm told, goes all the way through the footboard, and then in the gap created by the welt, there is a layer of foam that you can't see. It's on the inside, so the stitching goes through the footboard, through the foam, and through this midsole. So you've got lots of stitching holding this boot together. You've got the Goodyear welt stitching, and a proper Goodyear welt, you're always going to have two stitches. You're going to have the one that you see that goes through the welt into the midsole, and you're going to have the one from the inside that goes through the upper into the welt and into the midsole. So there's two stitches coming at two different angles. But in this boot, you also have that stitch down there. And I love that extra stitch. I just feel like, why not? Why not do that? You don't, it doesn't have to look perfect. No one's going to see it. Just put it in there to just have that much more strength. Keep that sole on, keep that midsole on. So man, I love these boots. I just love all the choices that they made with this particular model. And you got to get this model. You got to get this one. They have a few others, like I showed you. And they made some different choices on those. And some of them are more expensive, but I just feel like with this one, they made all the right choices. No, it's not perfect. Let's talk about something on the boot that isn't perfect. I would like triple stitching here, not because I feel like I need it, but because I like the original Red Wing style, and that would make it closer to the Red Wing. This little stitch detail is not on a Red Wing, and I like that difference, but this is something that's like, you know what, just make it like the Red Wing. So it's just like, then you're not second guessing like, oh, maybe this isn't as durable. It's like, it's plenty durable. Just put that third stitch there. It's what people are used to seeing. Red Wing kind of established this design. You might as well copy that little aspect. Why make this different? So I would do that differently. I really love this leather. A lot of Red Wings don't have this leather loop. I love that because I use that when I'm putting my boots on. And it's real leather. It's thick leather. It's the same thickness as this leather right here. I think it's the same leather, basically. And I love this loop. What I don't love is that for some reason they felt they had to line it with this weird man-made material. Is that necessary to stiffen it up? Is that necessary to keep it from wearing? I don't think so. Would this leather be too floppy if it didn't have that? Is it there to give it something for the stitch to stitch together so that the stitching is continuous and looks intentional? And I don't know why it's there, but I just feel like, actually it's kind of slippery, so it helps you get your finger in there when you're pulling your boots on. So it's not like I mind it from a functional standpoint. It's more of an appearance. Luckily, you can see plenty of leather from the edge, and you can see that it's not a bonded leather. It's nothing weird. It is, so it's not like they're trying to hide fake leather or trying to make something look like leather that's not. So I want to enjoy all the leather. Just like on the inside, I can see the inside of the leather here. I would like that there. So that's another thing that I would do differently. So we got the triple stitching here that's missing. I'd like that triple stitched. I would like to get rid of this man-made material. And the shoestrings, if you're a shoestring snob, you're probably going to be replacing these. They're really spongy, kind of stretchy. Whenever I get shoestrings like these, they fall apart pretty quick. They kind of disintegrate. The next thing I know, I'm pulling my shoestrings on and they snap. So we all have a place where we go, right, to get some, your hardware store a lot of times will have a better shoestring for boots, a bootlace. But, we'll give these a try as long as they last. And they look good. They look like what I'd expect. They just feel a little wimpy. Oh, let's see, what else? I really like this detail here with the eyelets. I'm an eyelet fan. Some people like those little quick release hooks. I'm an eyelet person, so I like the eyelets. I like the color of the eyelets. I don't like them when they're too shiny, so I like the color. The hex shape, I take it or leave it, but it doesn't bother me. I like this. This is a nice detail here that is not on the other Golden Foxes. There's this little divot here that makes it so that when your ankle is bending, this part of the boot can bend without wrinkling up so much right there and maybe having a wear point. It's a little unconventional, but it looks like it just fits there. It just looks like it's supposed to be there, and so I think it's kind of interesting. It doesn't bother me. Let's talk more about the leather. I didn't really go into enough detail there. This is definitely a high quality leather. Boot snobs are always shocked by this leather because they can't deny that it's a high quality leather. I don't know where they get it, but it's clearly oil tanned. It's clearly very soft. When you look at the edge of it, there's no weird blue color or anything to indicate that it's a cheap tanning process. It is a great leather. It is definitely a full grained leather as advertised. There is no plastic. Sometimes they'll put like a plastic coating on real leather to make it look like better leather. And then that way they can say, hey, this is genuine leather. But what they're not telling you is you actually can't see the leather because there's a plastic coating on it. That is not the case here. There's nothing, there's no coating, no plastic coating on this leather. Yeah, I think it is slightly sanded, and that's why it's not quite as thick as Red Wing leather, because they've probably removed just a little bit of the top surface to get rid of imperfections. That makes it look more perfect, but what it also does is it allows them to use a slightly lower grade leather and still have it look like high quality leather. But that's really common though. Just about everybody does that. Everybody sands it a little bit. That's what, in fact, a lot of people complain about Red Wings because they see little blemishes, and that's because they don't sand as much. This is sanded a little bit more, and that might be why. But there's still plenty of top grain on there, and it's a real high quality leather. I like the stitching. I like the color of the stitching. It's not too white and it's not too yellow. Perfect for me. I just love the look of these boots, man. I put them on and they just fit my foot perfectly. I think they fit most people's foot perfectly. I have pretty like normal feet, and but I have a little bit of cankle though. I got kind of a fat cankle, and these kind of camouflage that pretty nicely. They just look great. This looks like a nice traditional boot, and I'm so happy with them. Could not be happier, and I think you would be too. I just love the look of them. I love the design. I love the aesthetic. They are plenty sturdy. These are not going to fall apart. This Goodyear Welt construction is as good as any. You might complain about the lack of the leather footbed, but I think that's a plus as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather save the money there, and I'd rather have them lighter, and I'd rather have them break in quicker. So I just can't think of anything to complain about. I guess one thing, they could make this leather right here in the ankle a little thicker and stiffer, but I don't know. I don't know if should second guess them. It's pretty nice. Can't think of anything else to tell you about these boots. But let's get back to the main purpose of this video. And that is that I really think these are the best mock toe boot out there. The best all around. When you take into consideration price, quality, style, aesthetic, comfort, everything, it's the best. Like I told you, I've had Red Wing. I'm not looking to save money. I'm not looking to pinch pennies. When I had the Red Wings, I thought I'm buying my way into the perfect boot. And I was so disappointed to find out it wasn't the perfect boot. It was uncomfortable. It was too stiff. It never did break in. And then I tried these other boots that are like supposed to be more comfortable, like a Thorogood, and they are, but they're garish. They got goofy looking stuff all over them. This doesn't. This has the look of a Red Wing with the comfort that the Red Wing is lacking, and you might as well save some money in the process, $148. Now they sell a boot that, as I showed you, that is about $100, like $99. In fact, right now they got one that's on sale for like $59. So you can go even cheaper. But that's not why I got these. I didn't get these because I want the cheapest boot. I want the perfect boot that I'm happy with. Price is secondary. It just so happens these are only $148. So wow, I really think that Golden Fox knocked it out of the park with these boots. let's talk about Golden Fox, the company. They're a pretty good company. They've been around since 1970. They're out there in Ontario, California. So they are a U.S. company. It's an American company. Are all their boots American made? Some of them are. They have a few American made models. And you can tell on their website, which, as I showed you, which ones are American made. They have a little flag on them. One thing they don't do that I like is if a boot of theirs is American made, they don't put a big garish American flag on the side of the friggin' boot. Thank you. Whose idea is that? I mean, that's so weird, man. People put American flags all over their clothes, their jeans, and their boots to show that it's American made. That's kind of weird. And it's another thing that this company doesn't do. Now they do have, I think, a little tag inside the boot, that little American flag. That's fine. No one's gonna see it. That's not that I'm ashamed of my flag, but it's like that's not my job to wear flags down the street when I'm walking around. Flags, logos, icons. Oh, that's another thing. No logo on these boots. I am not a logo man. I am not an advertising whore. It is not my job to advertise your products for you and have garish logos all over everything. And I love that so much. That's just another thing that makes these like an old school boot, because they didn't do that back in the day. They didn't have big logos on everything, you know. Now, Golden Fox does have some models where they'll have a tasteful little fox down here or something like that. And they do have, it does say Golden Fox right on the tongue. That's fine. That's where you should put a logo, in my opinion. Put it someplace like someplace secondary like that, not like, don't put your logo right there or on the heel or that's goofy. So that's just another reason to love these boots. But yeah, they're a great company. Golden Fox is well regarded by a lot of boot snobs. So you can go all over YouTube and the internet, blogs, and you will find a lot of boot snobs talking highly of Golden Fox. They'll say, hey, you're not wasting your money. You're not throwing your money away. There's worse things you could spend your money on. Are they they're boot snobs, or they're going to say that it's, as high quality materials as some of these handmade boots? No, but they will never say that it's a rip off or it's a crappy boot or anything like that, because they know the company's great. It's a great company. So they got some USA made stuff. They got some Chinese made stuff. These are made in China. So this is one of their higher quality boots, but yet it's still a China boot. So you're getting a lot of value for your money, but all designed in Ontario, Canada. Here's a little extra stitching that I'm going to trim off. Maybe put a little little nail polish on the end of it to keep it from unraveling. Other than that, the stitching's just about perfect on this thing. So yeah, great company. Golden Fox is a great company. Been around since 1970, and yeah, they're just a great boot. So watch out for a follow-up video from me on, like, after I've had these a year. I'll probably do a follow-up video. I'll probably do a video when I resole them, because one thing I really love about boots like these is I like to experiment with them. I want to resole them. I want to keep them long enough to resole them, because I want to try a black wedge sole on here. I want to try maybe a sole that's a little bit more lugged. I do a lot of motorcycle riding, and I'd like to kind of experiment with using one of these boots as a motorcycle boot, maybe with a slightly different sole, although this sole is fine for riding a motorcycle too. So watch out for some follow-up videos from me on this. Before we go, I would like to take you through a little online tour of the other boots. Remember, I said this is the best boot. So who am I putting this up against? I'm putting it up against Red Wing, Thorogood, Rocky, Rock Rooster, Keen. These are all boots that I've had, because I'm always on the hunt for the perfect mock toe, and I've tried all those, and I want to show you why they fall short. You can spend $350 and they still fall short, in my opinion. You can spend $50 and they fall short, obviously. That's not too big of a surprise, but regardless of cost, they all fall short. And this is the best. And I'm going to I'm going to tell you why. Let's take a little online tour, and I will show you how these other boots aren't as good. And I think you'll be surprised.
Okay, so here we are back on the web. Let me show you all the different mock toe boots that I've tried. Um, I may have tried more than these. I might be forgetting one, but these are most of them, and these are the important ones. Let's start with the king, the goat, Red Wing, the Red Wing Heritage. Um, $350, 344.90 on Amazon. So you'll pay even more in a lot of you'll pay up, 350, 375 in some retail stores. Um, what's not to like? Well, this was what got me interested in mock toe boots in the first place. I loved the functionality. I loved the supposedly the comfort, and I love the classic aesthetic. And so I wanted to get a Red Wing boot at some point, and I eventually did. But you know what? They're not all they're cracked up to be. And what is good is pretty obvious. The thickness of the leather, the quality of the leather. Notice the blemishes in the leather. You can tell from this product photo, there's some blemishes because they don't sand the leather at all. They want to really show off that the leather doesn't need a lot of processing. It's super high quality leather, so you get maximum top grain in that full grain leather. They keep as much of the top grain in the full grain leather as possible, so you see some blemishes, and that's fine. So I love the leather. I love the classic mock toe stitch construction. It's multiple pieces of leather, so the stitches are there for a reason. It's sewing together multiple pieces. Um, but let's talk about what I didn't like. I didn't like the tongue. The tongue has no padding. You can see the inside of the tongue up here in the product photo. You can see like the suede side of that leather. It's thick leather, but it's just a flap of leather, and it tends to wrinkle up, and it causes pressure points on my ankle where my foot meets my shin, and they're always uncomfortable. And then this leather, because it's so high quality, and because it's not really an oil tanned, I don't think. Um, it's just a really high quality tanned leather. It's very stiff, very thick and very stiff, which means it's high quality, but they never really break in my opinion. I just feel like they never break in. And when you first put them on, you feel like you're wearing a pair of cardboard or a pair of wood boots. There's like, they don't conform to the shape of your foot. You feel like there's loose gaps and stuff because they're so stiff. They're uncomfortable. You can only wear them a little bit of the day until they break in, and they never really do break in my opinion. Because I don't wear these boots. I'm not working in them every day. I'm wearing tennis shoes a lot of days, so they just never break in for me because they just never get worn enough. And when I do wear them, I'm basically punished because they're just uncomfortable. They're not. I mean, they're not horrible, but they're not as comfortable as they should be or could be. And purists would say, well, that's because they have to have that thick leather um, foot footboard and some other things. But I'm like, you know what? You got to change with the time. Let's keep some of the traditional stuff, but let's change with the times enough to at least make them wearable. So they just weren't wearable for me. And then that's not to mention some aesthetic things that they could have done better. It's like, why do you have the different color stitching where the mock toe meets the rest of the upper? Why, just make that all one color. Um, all the stitching is multiple colors. It's a little bit better than some of them I've seen, but nevertheless, I do like the leather welt. I wish that the midsole, that thin little midsole, was a contrasting color and not the same color as the outsole. But other than that, there's not a lot that you can complain about. Um, and these are made in China too, by the way, according to the Amazon. I thought they were made in the USA, but Maybe not. Maybe there's some that are made in the USA, but their basic one is not. So that's kind of surprising. Um, so yeah, and you know what? No loop on the back. I gotta have a loop. What do you think? I don't know about you. I gotta have a loop. That's how I put my boots on. How can you not have a loop? Maybe just because they didn't back in the 50s or whatever, so they're not going to have one. I got to have a loop. So I had these boots, and they are awesome boots. That's what got me excited about this kind of boot in the first place. But they got some problems, and when you're paying 350 bucks, I would just rather roll the dice with some less expensive boots that actually have the features I want. They're comfortable from day one. So now, obviously, Red Wing knows better, and that's why they have their Irish Setter line. Um, oh, that's the one that I forgot, Irish Setter. So let's talk about them next. I'm going to do an Amazon search. Irish Setter. That's the one that I tried. Moc Toe. Let's see, which one did I get? I think it was this guy. It's not really important exactly which one though. I'll still be able to point out make the points that I want to make. But let's go back to the Red Wing. I think I'm done talking about Red Wing. Obviously, you can't. There's no, a great boot, but I think I was looking for something slightly different, not just to save money. I was looking for something slightly different, and I think I found it with the Golden Fox. All right, now let's look at Irish Setter, which is also made by Red Wing. Irish Setter is basically the modern version. Uh, you know, Red Wing here, these are their heritage boots because they're an old company and they want you to be able to get what started it all. But this is what they're making these days. This is the modern version. They're even more comfortable. They have a little even more cush. They still have a leather welt. It's still a traditional Goodyear welt construction, but they have some other little touches. The leather is more tumbled. One thing I don't like is the leather has a plastic finish on it, which I don't know whose idea was that. They think it makes it look better. I don't think so. Looks like fake leather. So they took real leather, added a plastic finish, and embossed it to give it the perfect texture that they wanted. And all they accomplished was making real leather look like fake leather. They also have all these tags on there, ultra dry, waterproof. I don't need, and then the big huge logo. It's like I'm more of a kind of a subtle styling kind of guy, you know. These are excellent work boots, though. I mean, if you're just getting them just for work and you don't care what they look like, you can't go wrong with these. This one's only 199, very highly reviewed. They have a lot of nice touches. They have the quick hooks up at the top to make it so you can lace them up quicker, take them off quicker. And they have a look of their own, but it's just not the look that I was looking for. They're not unattractive. It's just not what I was looking for. And so, I tried them, but I wouldn't get another pair just because of what I'm looking for. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I wanted to continue my search for the perfect boot. And like I said, I eventually found it the with the Golden Fox that I purchased. Let's move on to Thoroughgood. Thoroughgood is a Wisconsin company, and they make some great boots. You cannot argue about the quality of Thoroughgood. They are just as good as Red Wing, about $100 less. Some people like them more. These are comfortable right out of the box. It's an oil tanned leather and it's slightly tumbled, so it's soft, and that's why it has the stiffening stitches. These stiffening stitches. I like that the stitching is all the same color for the most part. I think it's more attractive. Um, it is a real leather welt, which is nice. Um, it is a really comfortable outsole, uh, but there's they came so close. I really like the eyelets and the quick hooks, although I'm more of an eyelet guy. The quick hooks, I know a lot of people appreciate that. They came so close. but they ruined it with the Moc. Really, a Moc? $250 pair of boots, and you're gonna have a Moc? It's a Moc toe. It's not a real Moc toe. It's fake. The stitches are only there for looks. There's no multiple pieces of leather sewn together. Just a horrible idea. There must be some economical basis behind it. It must be less expensive and less complicated to construct them this way. There's got to be a reason why these companies are doing this. I think it's bad. Just get out of the traditional design altogether if you're not going to make a real traditional design. I just don't get it. Let's talk about some other annoyances. The little doodads, as I call them. They put all the doodads. They got a big patch on the tongue. They got this patch, the USA patch. It's like not necessary. These are failure points. You're adding failure points. That tag, the USA tag, could kind of start to come undone. Why are you doing that? You don't put anything on my boots that doesn't serve a function. And now I don't mind if you emboss a logo and put it up on the, but it should be embossed, not stitched on, and put it up on the tongue. They got then another logo on the heel. They're just doing too much, and but it's really the Moc that ruined it. And you know what else? There's one other thing that really drives me up the wall with these boots. It's the Goodyear welt. It's a 360-degree Goodyear welt that goes all around the boot. It's a true Goodyear welt, very strong. You'll never hear anyone complain about the strength, the durability. But look at all that stitching. You're thinking, oh, wow, it's extra durable. It's got extra stitching. It's got you know, not only the inside stitch and the outside stitch, but it has a second outside stitch for a total of 3 stitches. Guess what? Well, first of all, it's a storm welt, so it rides up the boot, but that second stitch, the higher one, is only there for looks. It doesn't stitch into anything. It stitches through the welt only. Why? Why would you do that? I just don't get it. That just seems to be, you're kind of being dishonest. You're adding a stitch that doesn't actually serve a purpose. I just can't believe they did that. It has the loop on the back, which I like. So many other things that I like, but it's a Moc, and that extra stitch in the welt that serves no purpose is a can't believe they did it. Now, a lot of people will tell me, are quick to tell me, I like this pair of boots. I got rid of them a little early just because I didn't. I wanted to continue my search. They would have lasted forever. Um, a lot of people were quick to tell me, Thorogood has some other, designs that, and sure enough, here they got one. This is a Thorogood. It's even a little bit more money yet. And guess what you get for that extra money? A real Moc Toe. Let's find a photo that really shows it off. There you can see it better. It's a real Moc Toe. All right. So they know better. They know that that's what people want. But it still had, I'm not a big fan of the color. And let's see, the other, they do have other colors, but I can't find one that I really, really like. And they still have the USA tag on there, which I love USA, but that doesn't mean I want to wear a flag on my foot. Um, and it's not a Moc, it's a true Moc toe construction, but they have that extra thing of stitches on the welt that serves no purpose. And I can't even find a color that I like. So they're so close. I'd pay $250. I paid $350 for the Red Wings, but again, they fell short and I continued my search. I ended up with the Golden Fox that I just bought that I'm showing you in this video, and I'm glad I did. Hopefully some of these companies hear some of this feedback from me and others and come correct. All right, Rock Rooster. Here's a nice bargain. If you're looking for a bargain, these are a well-made boot. They last a long time. They're comfortable like a pair of sneakers right out of the box. Everything that I love about mine, people love about these Rock Roosters. Um, Leather welt, but look at that extra fake stitch on the welt. And look at the Moc. It's like Moc. Showstopper. Showstopper. Not going to get a Moc. And it looks like it has a plastic coating on the leather. Maybe not. maybe it's just overly tumbled. But whatever the case, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is it has kind of a unreal kind of look to it. Maybe they kind of get worn and look a little better. I'd like a padded tongue. The tongue is uncomfortable on these. I do like the loop on the back, but it's the mock and the fake stitching in the welt, and that's what does it for me. And it's a shame because you get a lot of value for 109 bucks, and people love these boots, but um, not me. I'm glad that I got my golden fox. Here's a rock rooster that does have a real mock toe, but it has a different kind of look to it, doesn't it? It's got like a weird kind of take on, like the stitching is kind of, and the cut of the upper is kind of different. It's a little non-traditional. It's not that classic Red Wing look that I like. It's cool in a lot of other ways. It has a really nice welt, leather welt, but just not what I'm looking for. It overly tumbled, but they're nice. For 139 bucks, I would definitely say give them a try. You're probably going to like them. They're going to be super comfortable and they're going to last a damn long time. And at least it doesn't have a mock. It's got a real mock toe stitch, mock toe construction. But still, it just wasn't the look I'm going for. Um, and then I went with these Keens. This is the most recent pair that I had. I actually returned these because they looked like clown boots. It's hard to tell from this video, but they were so tall. The toe box is so tall, and it's kind of a different off-putting color that once I got them in person, it was even more off-putting. They're super comfortable. They're super squishy yet stable. So Keen, it does not make a bad boot, but it just wasn't the look that I was looking for. They look like clown boots, and they're not exactly cheap at 189. I mean, they're a lot less than a Red Wing, but it's not like I was saving tons of money. It does have a plastic welt, but it's it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not a showstopper. Um, the ankle is a little weird. All that black on the ankle. That's a little not really a traditional look, but whatever. I'm a big Keen fan. I have some Keen boots that I love, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try their mock toe. It does have a mock though, and I was willing to go with the mock just because I love Keen. But in the end, they looked kind of goofy on my feet. The heel was a little bit too wide. They were a little bit sloppy, and they looked like clown boots. So I actually returned them, and I'm glad I did because I ended up like my very next pair that I bought ended up being the Golden Fox mock toes that I'm showing in this video that I love. So and then I tried a Rocky pair. I don't think Rocky makes them anymore. They looked like they had an even worse mock than this. They actually looked kind of like no, they didn't look like this. They looked more traditional, except the mock was the worst mock I've ever seen. It didn't even gather the leather up. It was just like a smooth plain toe that just had stitching around it. Just so disappointed. I got those years ago, and they were recommended to me when what I really should have got was that's when I should have got the Red Wings, which I tried later. So I've tried Rockies as well. I couldn't find them on Amazon or anywhere else to show you what I tried. I don't think they make that particular one anymore. That was like 20 years ago, but 15, 20 years ago. But I've tried Rockies too, and I think I'm overlooking another shoe that I tried, I'm sure, but at least you can tell I've tried a lot of mock toes, and they all have issues. Um, and it's not because I don't want to spend a lot of money. As you can see, I spent the money on the Red Wings. I spent the money on some of these others, and even some of the budget boots are more than what, you know. But I always feel like there's something. I don't know. I'd make a few design changes and I think come up with the perfect boot so easily. It just bothers me. And then Golden Fox they've come the closest. They're not perfect, That's why I didn't say the perfect mock toe boot. I said they're the best mock toe boot, and I think it's true. I didn't say they're the highest quality. I didn't say they're the most durable. I didn't say they're the most expensive or least expensive, but they have everything in one boot that makes me the most happy. And it's nice that they're not that expensive. They're not the cheapest, but they're not that expensive. They're pretty inexpensive. So there you have it, a little survey of all the boots that I've tried or considered and why I'm happy with my Golden Fox mock toe. And I will have links to all of these in the description as well, so you can check out the comparables.
So there you have it. The Golden Fox 6-inch Moc Toe Wedge Pro work boots. I love these boots. Go out and get yourself a pair. You'll find links to all the different things that I've mentioned in the description, including a link right to these boots. So you can, I got a link to these boots at Golden Fox website, a link to these boots on Amazon, so you can buy them from one or the other. And do yourself a favor. Looky, that's a nice boot.